Well, we're here at the YTexas Summit for our Mayor's Roundtable. Very, very excited about this conversation. Have had the chance to get to know a lot of these mayors from different parts of the state. They all have different economies, different populations, but I think they have a lot in common, and that is they are fast-growing cities in our fast-growing state. I would like to, what I'd like to do is, I'm going to introduce each of them, but maybe have them tell us a little bit about what's unique about their city and about their region. And I'm going to start at the far end with John Cowen Jr., who is the mayor of Brownsville, Texas. John.
Thank you, Ed. Again, my name is John Cowen. I'm the recently elected mayor for the city of Brownsville. I was elected in May. And what makes Brownsville special is, we are a border city. We are close to South Padre Island, and we have 4 international bridges, and right next to a deep water port that is probably the biggest economic driver in our region. It's just so many multi-billion-dollar projects happening there that will transform. It is transforming Brownsville, but that is really the future, along with what's happening with SpaceX, with their launch facility at Starbase. They have 2,000 employees, really provides that innovation driver for our region as well. So just the opportunities for our local talent to come home and have careers and really decrease the brain drain that our region has traditionally had. And I think that the future is so bright for our region.
Yeah, the brain drain is an issue in many different cities and regions around the state. Which is another good reason to be collaborating with a lot of these schools and universities. Craig Morgan, who is the mayor of Round Rock. Craig.
Thank you for having me. I would say I've served as the mayor since 2017. Started on the city council back in 2011. I think a couple things make Round Rock unique. I think it's people, for one. They have a desire, their entrepreneurial spirit. And when Dell Technologies landed in Round Rock, it really set the course for Round Rock. I could make some arguments that started the whole IT and technology course in the state of Texas. And then, I think lastly, just being right next to Austin, how do you become your own independent city, as Mayor said, to be able to live, work, and play? And so we've got a college. You can get your 4-year degree there. You can get a certificate. You can go to community college or career college. So we've got some opportunities where you can stay. And now we just got to create the quality of life where people can stay and enjoy their own city.
We have the mayor of Aggieland, Bobby Gutierrez, the mayor of Bryan, Texas.
Well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure and honor to be here. Bryan is a very unique city. It is we're a city that's 151 years old. We're in the middle of everything or in the middle of nowhere, however you want to look at it. Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, we're in the middle. Speaking on the panels from the last panel we were at, we look at the challenge that everybody faces in Texas, and most of those challenges are water, electricity, utilities, all the different things. Well, we have all that. We have the land, we have the water, we have the utilities, we have everything there, and we're run by business people. So in our government, we always like to say we work at the speed of business, not the speed of government. We have probably our biggest export that we export out of our community is talent. We have 80,000 students every year just at Texas A&M. We have another 25,000 between Blinn and Rullis right now. So we're a very vibrant. I still feel like I'm 18 years old. I act like I'm 10 because we have a very young population that keeps us young, keeps us vibrant, keeps us going. And it's very exciting to be in the town, especially now with the Rullis stuff that's going on in Rullis, hypersonics, all the stuff we have for Department of Defense, Homeland Security. It just opens us up for a lot of new technologies that literally come out every day. So it's a great place to be.
On a big game against Alabama tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's right. We're going straight from here to
start
partying.
Out of here. Okay. Little home field advantage here for Jim Ross, the mayor of Arlington. Jim?
Absolutely. I'm probably the weirdest mayor up here, I think.
I know a few.
Yeah. I guess we're all a little bit weird for running for mayor. My background is strange. I've never run for anything before. I've never sat on city council, never done any of that. I'm a business owner. I have a law firm and restaurants, and I'm a former cop and a former Marine. Arlington is unique. Talk about, you know, being lost when you're Round Rock being next to Austin. Try to be a city that's bigger than Pittsburgh and New Orleans and Tampa and Cleveland, and be stuck between two other bigger cities. That's called the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and never do you hear the word Arlington. So how do you create your own identity there? We do it by doing stuff like creating an entertainment district that's second to none, with 6 professional sports franchises here, with UTA, which has become the biggest UT campus in all of the UT systems. It's a T1, R1 facility, with Tarrant County College being here. Our population is now over 400,000 in Arlington, and we're quite proud of some of the changes that are going on here, and we're certainly thankful that YTexas is back for their 2nd year. You know, we spoke at the opening of this that we all do better when we do it together, whatever it is. When we work together as municipalities, as counties, in the state of Texas, we make good things happen. So I'm happy to be here with my colleagues and welcome everybody to Arlington.
Excellent. Last but not least, Ramiro Garza, who is the mayor of the city of Edinburgh. Tell us about Edinburgh.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. Really looking forward to being here, not because it was coming to the Cowboys Stadium, but really happy to be in your town, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be here. Just a little bit of background on myself before I talk about our city. I think I'd rather call us unique, right, for all of us. So my background is actually city government. So I actually have served as city manager before in my own town before I ran for mayor. So that makes it a little bit unique. But I'm enjoying it. I got elected about almost 2 years ago. And Edinburgh is a county seat of Hidalgo County down in the valley, just down the street from Brownsville. It's a fast-growing area. We're home to the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. We have 30,000 students there in our city. We have 2 major hospital systems there in our city that employ over 7,000. So about a quarter of our employment there are related to healthcare. So that is something very unique to us. We do have some sports facilities in our town. We have the expansion league for the Houston Rockets, Rio Grande Valley Vipers. We have an arena there. We also have a soccer stadium. So a lot like a lot of the cities, you know, we're growing cities. So what does that mean? You got to improve your quality of life. I always tell our fellow council members, we don't improve our quality of life, people aren't going to stay here in our city. And so we're working towards that with the School of Medicine that came also to our city close to 10 years now. We're seeing some of those benefits, and you know, we have some of the similar challenges, some of the cities here, but I think as Mayor Ross just mentioned it towards the end, all of us working together, I think we can do a lot more. So thank you.
Yeah. And whether it's infrastructure, sports and entertainment, education, the key is collaborating with stakeholders, right? And these stakeholders, of course, are employers and others. What are you doing in your respective cities to bridge the gap between these communities so that we can kind of thrive more and grow? And I'll start with you, Mayor Cowen.
Sure, that's a great question. And recently, the city of Brownsville, along with its economic development arm, GBIC, hosted a career fair that advertised over 3,000 jobs. So we're helping bridge the gap between the employers that are looking for labor, they're looking for skilled people, with the people in our region that are searching for jobs. So we're constantly trying to bridge that gap and making sure that we have apprenticeship programs that get our young kids from our ISDs interested in the careers that are available, so that they know that they can build a successful career in our region, right? So I think it's just being able to collaborate, making sure those lines of communications are always open with all our stakeholders. I think that's our challenge as leaders.
And how are you doing that, though? I know you've got many examples that are working.
Right, and I think it's I have quarterly meetings with our superintendent, with our port director, with our UTRGV president. So I think it's just making sure that everyone's on the same page with regards to our pain points and collaborating, making sure that we have a path forward on how to solve these problems.
Mayor, ask you about this because you guys are very close neighbors. How is that working regionally? And tell us what you're doing.
Well, good. Thank you for that question. I'll use the opportunity to state that, the Rio Grande Valley, we're 47 cities. Mayor Ross talking about DFW area, how do you differentiate yourself? But for us, I think we recently have kind of come together in a way that we hadn't before. We formed an alliance, Rio Grande Valley as one region, one voice. Governor Abbott went down and actually signed a compact with us about working together to collaborate and market our region as one. But not just cities, but all our higher ed institutions, workforce training. It was a fascinating summit. But I said, okay, this is a good pep rally. Now we all need to, kind of step forward and, collaborate so that we can improve our region. And there's so many, what Mayor Cowen is one example of it. Our school district just opened up a 100,000 CTE facility. And it just opened. So we're looking forward to that. There's a lot of them throughout our region. We need to figure out a way to connect our employers with, our school system in a way so our kids have that ability to, have those paths clearly defined. Not everybody, my local superintendent tells me 60% of the kids are probably going to go somewhere, right, and higher ed or do something. He goes, it's that 40%, that we're working towards to make sure that we train them and do something with them so they can, be part of our qualified workforce.
Mayor Ross, we're sitting here and experiencing an extremely fast-growing city with the beautiful structures and the hotels and the sports teams, and then you've got UTA. So how's that all working?
One word, relationships. I'm a businessman, so the most important thing I've learned in doing business is it doesn't matter if you're the best restaurateur or the best lawyer or the best plumber or the best whatever it is you're going to do. Doesn't matter if you're the best mayor or the best city manager. If you don't know how to develop and nurture relationships, you're never going to be the best you can be. For us in Arlington, it's about relationships. It's why when the Texas Rangers moved here now 52 years ago, they've never gone anywhere else because they understand the relationship that they have with the city. And we understand the relationship we have with them. It's why we were able to convince the Cowboys to build at&T Stadium here in Arlington, is because they get the relationships. That's why the Tishes and the Cordishes who are building Texas Live and all of the hotels have come because they get the relationships. So, our big push is it's all about that R word, keeping those relationships strong. And I think that's the secret to any successful entity, whether it's a business, whether it's a city, whether it's whatever it is, a nonprofit organization, is nurturing relationships.
So Mayor Gutierrez, the A&M system is a perfect example of a relationship type organization, and you've got campuses all throughout the state, but you're also right next to Mayor Morgan here, who is closer to UT. So I'm sure there are some friendly.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of friendly. When you're in a city that's Bryan College Station, and like Mayor Ross says, they don't use the F word for Frisco. We don't use the C word for College Station. We win and lose together. We truly win and lose together. But it's one of those things that relationship. When y'all probably know Susan Davenport, she came and she's heading up our new EDC. So in our EDC, we have Texas A&M, we have the city of Bryan, we have the city of College Station, we have Brazos County that all work together to bring businesses in, to bring jobs in, to bring. That's where the relationships also begin. Now, how we connect with our business community within that group, we have another subgroup that's called Invest Brazos Valley, and it's made up of all the sponsors from all the businesses, all whether it's the financial part, whether it's manufacturing, all those different things, and they come to us. I was the chair of that board for a few years before I became mayor, before I went on council. And it is a place. It's patience, it's relationships, it's trying to make sure that when Susan came from the Austin, greater Austin area, and from the Port of Houston as well, she had to deal with, like you guys said, there's 43 cities in the valley. So when you're spreading out one opportunity out of 47, somebody wins and somebody expects that it's going to be but when you have two cities and it's only two, somebody's winning, somebody's losing. And how do you make that connection where that other one doesn't feel bad? We have land, we have industrial, we have manufacturing. College Station's more intellectual. They do more of the IT type stuff, and we do more of the heavy lifting type stuff. So it's a natural for us. It's natural, but everybody still wants to win. And it's just about trying to make sure that everybody's happy. And your communities, when you're driving down through Bryan and College Station, the only people know where the dividing line are the people who live there. Nobody else knows when they get from Bryan or get to College Station, from Edinburgh to McAllen, to Far, that nobody knows. You're just driving. So, but for us, it's still a check or it's an X when we win or lose, because we're responsible for our taxpayers, for our bottom line, and to promote business, to promote it. Having A&M there obviously is a big driver for us. The businesses that are spurred out of Texas A&M, we got to find a place for them to land as well. So it is, just like Mayor Ross said, it's relationships.
Mayor Morgan, home of Dell.
Right. It's interesting because you talk about the relationships, kind of like along the terms of just the city of Round Rock trying to separate itself from Austin. I think the county's done the same thing from Travis County. And so we've always kind of done individually, by cities. Our chamber does our economic development program. They do externships with teachers to kind of show teachers what jobs are out there. We do apprenticeships. We work with ACC very closely. And just recently, Texas State's president announced hired a position of vice general counsel. I can't remember what her exact title is, but she'll be in Round Rock because they want to grow Texas State to 10,000 students. It's about 3,500 right now, and they want that by 2030. And so I think one of the things that has just recently happened to really help bridge all the relationships through the county is we have created a Williamson County Economic Development Partnership, and that is governed by a board of the economic development directors in the county. They did this once Samsung landed in Taylor, and now we have opened up or partnered with an office in South Korea because there are 200-300 companies, suppliers, wanting to get over and be as close as they can to Samsung, and they don't really know how to do the business in Texas or in the United States. And so we've created a partnership to do that. A lot of the schools, one of the high schools is they're getting some internships from Samsung to, bring in and hire them, but they're going to need employees. And so I think the growth of our colleges, the growth of our communities, we have to be good partners. And you're not going to win every time. And you've got to be able to sit in a room, one-on-one and act like adults and not act like children like some people and some elected officials do. And you have to have some hard conversations, and I think we're able to do that in Williamson County. I think all the mayors have great relationships. We can have hard conversations behind the scenes on things, and so we'll continue to do that. So I'm really excited about how this Wilco EDP will bring all that together in all of the county.
Well, what's interesting is all of you are going through transformations in the way you're approaching economic development. Mayor Ross, you actually just hired a new person, maybe within the last year or so, to approach economic development. What are you doing to attract companies to your?
So we've had an economic development corporation for years. It just wasn't funded. So the first thing we did when I got in office was we funded it with a 1/4-cent sales tax. If you could imagine the sales tax that is generated here in Arlington, that's a substantial amount of money that we're now able to fund our EDC with and attract people that we otherwise weren't able to do in the past. So we're excited about that. We brought in Broderick Green, who heads our EDC, doing a phenomenal job with our EDC, and we're excited about what the future holds. It's already generated substantial investment into our community, a rejuvenation of certain shopping centers, developments that we weren't going to be able to do in the future because they were too expensive for us. Now they're attainable, and it's exciting.
Mayor Gutierrez, same situation.
Well, we have a lot of stuff going on over there. We have another organization within our own city. It's called the Bryan Business Council. And the Bryan Business Council is made up of business people in the community. These are what I would call stakeholders. They're appointed by the council. And they have a unique opportunity because we have funded them through the city through the many, many years on some different land. And their instruction is to go bring business in, go figure out how to get it done. They can do things that the city can't do. So they have allocations of money that they can do. They can make trades. They can buy stuff. We take key parts, just like Mayor Ross was saying. You can take these key areas that are, could be catalytic sites that are in disparity, whatever they are, and their job is to go buy them before somebody else buys them and puts them in another use. And they've done a really good job. They've been able to take a little bit of money, turn it into a whole lot of money because these are business people, and they're working on their own with their board, and they've just done some phenomenal things for us. But we've landed really some good companies into the area because you have business people rather than politicians trying to do stuff. Now I say that because I have one of my council member over here, and she's a business person. I'm a business person. We grew up in all this kind of stuff, and our council's mainly made up of business people. So we have that mentality. We like to work fast. We like to work smart. We find solutions. We don't find roadblocks, and we just want to get it opened up and going.
Well, Mayor Garza, fast-growing region where you are, how are you approaching economic development at your level?
So we also have a half-cent sales tax corporation. Our EDC director's here, actually. And we've had that for some time. They own land, they own buildings, and they're really the ones, just like Mayor Gutierrez is mentioning, that really drive all our economic development activity in our city. Like I mentioned, some industrial parks. We have an airport. We have municipal general aviation airport. It's a large industrial area there. And so there are single point of contact for companies that are looking to go in the area. But now, as I mentioned earlier, with this regional alliance, it's not about our own city. It's about our region. If you do a 150-mile radius around Edinburgh, there's 10 million people. That includes the northern part of Mexico, which we need to include. It's part of our trade area. And there's some Fortune 500 companies just right across the river in Mexico. And so the idea here is, working with suppliers, working with people that need to be in the geographic area that we are, but also working with the School of Medicine. There's some opportunities there right now with all that is happening, some of the research that is happening there. But we have a setup much like other cities, an economic development corporation. They're the people that are in charge of bringing in new investment and creation of jobs.
Mayor Morgan.
Yeah, so what we, in Round Rock, we have the half-cent sales tax, and it was only used for transportation. So we had to go to the voters to change that to allow us to have a greater amount of our sales tax bill use it either way. And so we did that several years back. I think all of the mayors would agree. You don't start with incentives. I think what we as mayors have to do is create an economic environment that businesses want to come. And then once they know that environment is created, then it's up to the chamber folks that we turn our the authority over to get these jobs and then use the incentives. I've always reminded of the story in Oklahoma City. They were in a run-in for an American Airlines facility. It's going to be 10,000 jobs. They were kind of drying up because the oil. The governor got I think a half cent to be able to go and use and seek the company, and their offer was the largest. They were down to 2 people, and they didn't get it. And he went, to his credit, he went to find out why didn't they come and choose Oklahoma City, because they sent in CEOs and their wives to tour the community. And they went to Indianapolis, and he said the wives said there was no sense of place in Oklahoma City, and now the boardwalk and all the stuff they've done, that's what they use that penny for. And he said it, and he said as well as anybody, you've got to create that sense of place, and then everything else will happen and come. And part of that sense of place is creating the environment of jobs and being able to work and afford to live in your own community and stuff.
Well, Mayor Cowen, if you want to talk about a place, the city of Brownsville, if you've never visited, you have to go down. It's amazing what the community is doing.
Yeah, I agree. we are the second most historic city in the state of Texas, behind San Antonio in terms of historic buildings. And it's a rebirth downtown, and there's a lot of great things happening. But also, we're really focused on increasing and diversifying our tax base. We're mostly a residential community. In order to really pay for our services, we need to have more commercial and industrial investment, and so we're really focused on that. So I am currently the chairman of the REDC, the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation, and we're developing a 700-acre industrial park on the north side of town to get ready to take advantage of all the opportunities going on at the port and with SpaceX. So SpaceX had a supplier conference, 75 companies that supply them, that I think will be able to attract a lot of that base. And also with everything that's going on with nearshoring, I think being on the border is a great opportunity to attract a lot of those companies as well. So it's our job as a city to plan for that growth and using those funds wisely to really maximize our opportunities.
And business is local, and we've talked about this in our prep call. I mean, the state is growing at leaps and bounds, and all of your regions are growing and hiring, but you have different economies, you have different needs of your residents and your employers. Explain to people the day in the life of a mayor, and what are the challenges that you're facing now, and in a positive way. We all know there are challenges with political issues and things like that, but I mean, as the mayor, what are just some of your top priorities that you're dealing with? And I'll stay with you, John.
That's a great question. I think we wear a ton of hats as mayor, right? We're firefighters, we're policemen, we act, we're mediators. But at the end of the day, we provide. We're in charge of customer service to our community, right? We're making sure we're getting the job done as a city, and but in setting that vision, and it's our job. We're the biggest cheerleader for our city. We're making sure we're marketing our city appropriately. But I think, for me, it's about creating a better place for future generations and having that vision, setting the city in the right path. And I think that's the challenge, is getting all our stakeholders in line, because we're used to operating in silos at times, and it's breaking down those barriers. And I think that's using our leadership to do that. I think that's my biggest role.
I think probably for us, obviously the greatest challenge is just growth, right? You never can build enough roads. You can't get enough parks. You're always trying to play catch up, it seems like. But to John's point, I think what Round Rock's done really well is we have a strategic planning meeting every year. We have our 5 goals, and we have someone that comes in to help us keep our eyes on the prize instead of getting into some of the nonsense that you do see out. Sometimes with elected officials. As I stated before, as mayors, we've got core responsibilities, and that's public safety, quality of life, water, transportation, anything outside that, you're almost out of your purview of really what your responsibility is and what you can accomplish. And so I think that it's our goal. What I try to do as a mayor is to keep my council focused on what our core responsibilities are, and not get out of the staff's way and let staff do their job. We've set the policy. Get out of the way and trust who you've hired to implement that policy. And then, lastly, I think that social media is a whole new beast, and when you have people out there putting out misinformation, that's a challenge. And so we've increased our marketing department at the city. We're 130,000. We have about 8 or 9 people in it. We have someone that sets and responds to every Facebook post that's not correct in a very polite manner to help just get the mob rule out. You're always going to have the cave people, citizens against virtually everything, but you just got to keep that minimized. And so I think those are some of the key challenges. Just beside the growth and all that.
Well, I think as a mayor, you are supposed to be the face of the city. You're the ambassador. You're the one that goes out and sells the city. You have to conduct yourself. You have to be accountable. You have to be available. I don't know how many times I look at my phone and it buzzes, and I'm supposed to be somewhere in 15 minutes, and you're double booked for this. I had a lunch the other day that sitting at the lunch, and I got a call, where are you at? And figure out I could do lunch in 30 minutes and be at 2 places at one time. So, and it was very effective because I got to miss all the introductions because I knew everybody there, missed all the introductions and just got right to business in 30 minutes. So an hour, 2 business meetings, it was great. I think that, with us, one of the things I'm listening because Bryan has been very proactive. We're fiscally responsible. We were actually in the running for the Samsung project as well. We went proactively and bought 200 acres right at the end of our buyer corridor where we knew this was the spot that we're looking at, and we wanted to make sure that we had it available. So it's still available. Now I'm going to be with my new best friend over here, the 200 companies that aren't going to come. We're going to be bringing them over, so we'll get 100. He might get 100, but we have a spot for them to land. We have things, everything else, and we do. We get along well. We talk. We visit. We're challenged with the same challenges. I thought before I became mayor, everybody in town loved me. When I became mayor, I just found out 50% of the people hated me for no reason at all. They don't even know why they hate me. They just hate me. And you're at some point you're going to make somebody mad. At some point it's not going to be to their advantage. And we deal with that every single day, but it's for us to tell them why. It's us for them to be able to look them in the eye and say, I'm sorry, we can't do that because I'm not just responsible for you. I'm responsible for the other 90,000 people. And the people that come up there, the people that come to City Hall are the ones that are upset. Obviously, I look at my schedule, okay, man, I've got 10 ass chewings coming right now because no one shows up to tell you you're doing a good job. They're up there either lobbying for something or they're up there to tell you what you're doing wrong. It's very rare that you get the thanks for I know the amount of time that these gentlemen all put in up here. So I will tell you thank you for what you do because I know what you do. Thank you.
How the hell do you get your own cheering section?
He planted them here.
So, a day in the life of a mayor. People do get upset with us from time to time. But I can tell you this, you could take all of our salaries and put them together, and I would think somebody making hamburgers somewhere will make more money than us. We don't do this because of the tremendous amount of money we get. We do it because we want to give back to our communities. And personally, I get sick and tired of people trying to push their political issues on mayors who just want to take care of their community. Our potholes could care less if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. Our crime could care less what our political affiliation is. And I'm tired of our Congress, both in the state and in the federal government, being a bunch of idiots and not producing for the communities the way they should. And if they get off their ass, if I can use your term, and pay attention to what the mayors are doing, maybe you'll find out how to govern. Maybe you'll find out what's important to our communities. And I got news for you. What's important for our communities is not the damn political party you're affiliated with. What's important with our communities is doing the right thing to bring jobs, to keep people safe, and to keep our roadways open. That's what's important for our community. So a day in the life in the mayor for me is leave me alone when it comes to your party affiliations. I have half the city saying I'm too liberal, half the city saying I'm too conservative. I don't care. I don't care. All I want to do is what's best for our community.
All right, I couldn't agree more. Not only what Mayor Ross said, I think what everyone said here, because it is different for everybody. For me, it's really, really different because I used to be city manager, so people still think they can call me and I can get something done. And I said yes, but now I have to call the city manager, and then we can get that done. So it's pretty interesting. I think the day in our life it varies. It starts with, always starts with complaints. You're right. It's never about thank you. Although I do get thank yous at H-E-B for some reason at grocery store. I do get that. Maybe because I let them go. Anyway, so it's different for everybody. It is, obviously we all do it because we're giving back, truly. We're not getting paid. I think our greatest challenge is our city is, like everybody here, is our growth. When I first moved to Edinburgh, I'm not originally from there, we had public hearings for zoning cases and things like that, and we had people show up advocating in support. Allow this development to happen, allow this. I mean, we had, everybody's welcome with open arms. Everybody's still welcome with open arms to our city. However, I have noticed lately, because of the growth, people do showing up, and don't we have enough homes already being built? Don't we have enough apartments being built? So it's pretty interesting, but that has to do with the growing pains, the roadways, our infrastructure. So we've made it a point as a city council to get serious about it. We're right now investing over $65 million just on public improvements throughout the city, and we're going to need to continue. And that's just catching up. We're going to need to do a lot more than that. But our growth is probably our biggest challenge now. And I tell my council, like Mayor Ross says, don't listen to the noise. Stay focused on our core values, our core things that we need to do in improving the quality of life in our city.
Well, we appreciate all that you guys do, and we appreciate the fact that you came here today for our event, which is to build a stronger, more connected Texas. I would just say, in closing, is there anything that we did not talk about that you'd like to mention? And I'll start with you, John.
Well, I think to reiterate Mayor Ross, talking about how the state is continuing to take local control away from cities, making our job harder. I think that's, to me, a real threat to how cities can take control of their own destiny, right? And so putting restraints on us will continue to make our state less competitive. And I think that's the real challenge for us to make sure our state reps, our state senators know that, how we feel as a city. And the cities are what make up Texas, right? I mean, we're the ones getting the job done. So I think we need to continue to have this conversation and unite and have our voice heard.
Yeah, what I would say is, I agree with everything that's been said about this, but I think what we need from the business community, we need the business community to stand up. They're not going to listen to us. They think we're just a bunch of whiners. We need the business community to stand up with us in cities and say, look, leave the cities alone so we can continue to grow the way we need to grow, and let them, if they want to be focused on the nonsense, then let them be focused on the nonsense. But we need help from our citizens. We need help from our businesses, because it does impact you. And I always tell my state rep and senator, when you target Austin, you're targeting cities like us. So if you really want to just target Austin, bracket the bills and leave us alone and let us do our job. We're the economic engines of the state. Now, they've given us the tools, but we're the ones on the ground helping push it out with our businesses. So I just ask businesses to really watch these things and help us when we need you to help us, because they're not going to listen to us.
Well, and just so you know, it's campaign season again, and we do need to reach out to our state reps, and we need to reach out to our congressmen. In fact, I was talking to the congressman the other day, say, look, I need you to pull all the liberties and all this stuff away from the state government, just like they're doing from the cities. Because at that point, maybe they'll realize what they're doing to us. I think all politics are local. I walk out the door, people know I'm the mayor. I walk down the street, I'm there. I have to answer those questions every day, and those are the things that they're literally choking us out as cities to be able to govern ourselves. And when you have cities like us that are progressive, that we're doing big things, we're doing big things that affect the state and affect the country and affect our population, our people there as well. Those are the things that they're taking away from us. Those are those rights that they're taking away, and we've got to stop them. We've got to stop. You've got to call, just as you said, the business community, the people that write those checks for those campaigns, and I know because I'm the one that raises money. When you write those checks, there should be stipulations. We expect this. We expect that. I did find out something really quick, because apparently all of y'all have city managers y'all can actually call. I got my city manager over here. He's on the phone. I texted him 3 times. And I think he's got my number blocked. I don't know. No, we actually grew up together. We have a very long history of mayors. I'm the third of a group of us that have got together many, many years ago and wanted to make a change in our city, make a change in our whole area over there. And I never thought I'd ever be here. I never wanted to be over here. It was just wanted to make a difference. And we worked very, very hard. And somehow or another, COVID hit. I drew the short straw, and here I am. And you know, it's literally one of those things. But we have a very close, not only staff, family, but our political family. And we too try to make a difference. I think that it's really going to be important going forward that we are collaborative. And these kinds of things, Ed, that you put on are really phenomenal. I mean, last night it was out of the park. Last night was out. Met more people that understand what we're all going through as a state, and what we're all going through as a country, and obviously we all have the passion.
So from a business perspective, I'm a business owner, and we have a lot of entrepreneurs here at YTexas. We do business with people that we respect and trust. You come to Arlington or Bryan or Round Rock or Edinburgh, wherever, you go to places where you can respect and trust who you're dealing with. I think about that a little bit. How many of us respect and trust our Congress? How many of us respect and trust our federal Congress? We don't. We don't. And is that harsh of me to say? Hell, it may be. I don't care. I'm tired of it. If we want business to continue to come to Texas, Congress needs to get their crap together, period. And let the mayors, let the communities do what they do best. If I want to open a business in Edinburgh, I don't go to the Texas Congress to find out what's happening in Edinburgh. I go to the Edinburgh mayor and say, what's going on down here and what do I need? That's because he has his finger on the pulse of that community. So we only do business with those that we respect and trust, and I suggest everybody else stay out of the way.
And on that note, maybe to close it off, to add to what Mayor Ross is saying, the only thing I will state is the border is safe. Okay, we're in election year. We have our challenges with immigration, but that doesn't mean that it is an unsafe area. On the contrary, you just look at the numbers. You look at all the investment, people that are moving to the area. It's a completely different story. But unfortunately, we're going to be going through an election year, so you're going to hear and see a lot of those things. But we're an area that is rich with culture. It's vibrant. I mean, there's people that moved down there. The dean of the medical school moved from St. Louis, Missouri, and he hadn't ever been down to our region. And when he made the short list, he told his family and friends, I made the short list to this new medical school down in South Texas. And they told him, oh, no, it's unsafe over there. Why would you do that? And he not only, got the job, but he's been there now over a year and a half. But he tells me, even if I'm not the dean, I don't want to leave here. I love this community. I love this region. He says, Mayor, what you need to do is you need to get with the other mayors. He says, and you guys need to dispel what's out there because that's affecting, what is happening. So anyway, I think that's part of all our job for the whole state. We need to tell our story, and doing it together goes a long way. So
can I add one thing to what Mayor Ross said that about just kind of what's going on in the environment? We host a bunch of national tournaments on the amateur level. We're not professional, but being centrally located, we've already got national tournaments telling us they will not come to Texas because some of the stuff that has been passed. That's tourism. That's right. That's sales tax that helps lower your property tax. So it's real. I mean, we're not up here whining. It's real, and it's concerning because tourism is huge for us. That's how we get a lot of our money. Right. So anyway, I just wanted to.
No. Listen, we appreciate the straightforwardness. We appreciate the passion. I mean, that's what I got out of this conversation is these folks, like you said, aren't getting paid much, if anything. You're all business owners, and you care about the city that you live in. A lot of you grew up in the cities that your mayor's in. So no, we appreciate it. Hopefully we're going to do this again.
Yeah.
Okay. And we appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.